win this battle. Let's go. Come on, Sedona. Back to work.
All I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my house. Words are very unnecessary, they can only do harm. All I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my house. Words are very unnecessary, they can only do harm.
Really spiritual. I believe in interdimensional. I believe in the spirituality. I believe that we have to really get into who is the creator, because this is real. The unseen is freaking real, Rian. Space arcs. We got one in the Atlantic. We got another one in the Pacific. We got one in Brazil. We got one in Ukraine. We got another one, a huge one, that Alex Collier was talking about it in Greenland. And look what's happening in Greenland right now.
A lot of this information. And so Tartary was an empire that existed on maps, and it was the largest empire on maps. National parks should be called like dimensional portals, like terminals, there's all different accounts of these people that are in national parks, and then they kind of describe it the same, where they say it like opens up and there's different lighting, and then they go, when they're there, the lighting's different and they have these different experiences, but those are the people that survive.
Well, I started my awakening like late 90s, maybe 97, somewhere around there. And it was just the initial questioning of this reality. There was something inside of me that gnawed away, saying, hey, something is not right here. And that led me in to start asking the questions, started looking into life after death, also the death of several people close to me. It was what instigated that. And then I started going on like ghost investigations, met a very powerful psychic by the name of Peter James. Took me under his wing, kind of taught me about the afterlife, taught me about how to tap into the spirit world and things like that. Concurrently to that, I was already meditating.
Right.
And that was how I knew what you were experiencing, is through my meditations, I started seeing beings looking me eye to eye. And so,
okay.
So that when you came to me and said, hey, I just saw this guy standing next to me, I said, that guy was always there, you just couldn't see him before. And you're like, okay, we got to meet.
Yeah.
I need to be very clear here. I don't know what I saw. I don't know if it was us, if it was them. I don't know if it was interdimensional. I don't know anything. All I know is what we are told is bullshit. And that right there is going to force me into getting the
More
answers to the
information,
questions that are flooding in them, and that I was on the right path, and that
Yes.
the community needs to be supported here because of that. I don't know, but I'm going to be the hero here. I'm going to go on the hero's journey.
Yes.
And I am going to get to the end of this road. And I'm going to
Mhm.
do it for all of those out there that have been ridiculed and teased. No matter what anybody says to me, Rion, about what I saw, it's not going to change what I saw.
So, Rion, for those who don't know me, I've had multiple near-death experiences, and that's really allowed me to go and travel out there. You know, what's beyond this realm, and you know, like Einstein said, you know, you have to be outside of the box and look into the box to have like proper solutions for the problems that we have in this reality. And that's what I've done. I really wanted to understand what life was about. I wanted to understand what, you know, wealth is about, what technology is about, relationships about, you know, love, all those things that, you know, we as humans experience. But nobody from what I'm seeing is doing it proper, because we don't know what's out there. We don't know the possibilities. So once I had, you know, the first near-death experience, it really allowed me to really magnify or understand what it's all about. And I brought that knowledge from that realm into this realm.
For the next 19 years, we have to come together in person.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you just talked about the bodies and our DNA, imagine when everybody together clicks together to do this stuff and with all these new things. So it's like,
Yes.
people have to get over like, well, I tried being in groups. I tried doing these things. I tried doing these events. That was just the beginnings and like it wasn't the pop that we were fully there, right? There were some
Yes.
great moments, but like, this is what it actually is meant for.
Right.
Like, I can't stress that one enough. And I'm not even, you don't even have to go to the event we're doing. I'm just saying, like, for all of us, like, no, you need to start finding your peeps and start
Yes.
coming together and doing it, because the electric vibration between and the heart energy that the fields that we all carry together
Yes.
have to come together to be those bigger energy sources and transmit and reprogram the frequencies, because a lot of the dark frequencies aren't working and they're dying and they don't have the energy to support them anymore. They're all
Yes.
old in their energy and they're like they don't have the energy anymore. They can't keep using ships. They can't keep using alternate synthetic technology to do it. It will never carry it over.
Right, because especially the magic spell is over. You know, the spell or the magic trick only works until the audience knows how the trick is done. And then the whole thing just falls apart. And I think that's what we're seeing right now, not only in the States, but globally.
Year is we just entered a cosmic gateway. And what it means is that Gaia is moving into uncharted territories. We're moving into more refined frequencies. We're moving into significantly a new era. So if you look at the synergy right at the early stage of what 2025 as a cosmic gateway represents, this is going to be well beyond the 2025 gateway. It's going to be 2026, 2027. As a perspective is, look at the last 4 years alone, just the last 4 or 5 years on the planet. Human beings and Gaia, you went through a huge contraction in the field, and the dark light polarity have been really super active, creating a big, huge contraction. And it felt as if you were moving backwards in your evolution. It felt like there was no way out. It felt like the grip of manipulation and authority and all of this were beyond your reach, or beyond everyone's ability to be in your empowerment. However, this construction that you went through over the last 4 years, at the end of the calendar year 2024, it symbolized the completion of a very old paradigm. And that includes on the historical timelines level. What it means is that there's a lot of release. Human beings as a species is unwinding a lot of influences that have been carried over through ancient civilizations, influences, history also in the field in Gaia. For example, World War II, you need to clear that paradigm. That no longer applies. The trauma from the fall of the Roman Empire, or, when the library of Alexandria were burned out, what it caused as a ripple effect, or the energy around Atlantis, or the first rising of Egypt, and then how Egypt has evolved and disevolved, and so forth and so forth. So we're looking at the entrance of a brand new gateway of consciousness. So Gaia is really shifting into a new dimensional space. There's going to be much more new refined frequencies of the refinement in terms of how we think, how we process our thought forms, how we carry in the field these old behavioral pattern belief systems. What is it you're ingesting too much? So on a spiritual level, what we're seeing is a release of the face of what we call the spiritual buffet.
I was taken when I was a kid. I was 10 years old. I was taken into a 20 and back program, career return program, whatever you want to call it. And I lived for 20 years in black programs and into the space program that's in our solar system, which is very real. And they put me back. I woke up the next morning. So it's detailed in my book, Series Colony Cavalier. I've done a ton of interviews. You and I have done interviews about it. But essentially, I was taken into the programs for 20 years and put back the same day. So I woke up, I was 10 years old. My parents didn't know I was gone. And when I got my memories back in 2015, I started researching and looking for evidence, and I found a ton. And so there's tons of evidence. And that's how the remote viewing, one of the first stops was an advanced remote viewing program at the end of Project Grill Flame. And so that's what I kind of built on. But I wrote the books about it. I wrote Series Colony Cavalier and Project Star Maker that are my testimony. And, I have people privately tell me that a lot of people in the military have read my book, Series Colony Cavalier, that it's like a cult classic thing in the upper ranks of the military, because they're looking at it and going, because here's what it is, because one advanced program is compartmentalized and they don't know what the other program's doing. So they read my book and they go, well, he was in this program and this one, we know this, but look at this. I had no idea.
Women here, because we don't even, our adrenal glands are not supposed to be doing that. Like, we're not supposed to be firing like this, like constantly every day. And males have a little bit, the men have a little bit more of that, even though they get burned out too. But it's like, we have to learn how to, I've burned out my adrenal glands a couple times, so I know, like, it's really not helpful to have the adrenaline going constant 24/7. You got to have the downtime. And it's really important for you guys to be there. It's something you have to experience in person. All these things online are great, but like when you're actually in person at these events, it's actually really, really powerful, because we all really resonate as one big giant family. Even at these events, and it is like a reunion, a lot of it. So you're connecting with people, you'll be meeting new people, you'll be sharing, dancing, doing
right?
all, and listening to the presenters. But I think a lot of you guys always talk about this. I hear this all the time, like, I don't find people that I resonate with, that are on my wavelength or whatever. I'm like, well, now's your chance, right? This is your chance to get with the people that are on your wavelength, or even if they're not, but you can meet all the new people. So there's no excuses, right? And you're going to be in Sedona, which is going to be like, oh my God, who doesn't want to come to Sedona, right?
Has anybody ever been to the King's Chamber? Anybody went to the Giza Plateau, visited those pyramids? Crazy story, I was up in the pyramids, and it was on 2012, and December 21st, the day the Mayan calendar was ending. And I was laying in the pyramid sarcophagus, King's Chamber, and I had out of our experience what we've been waiting for. I'm Jason Young Styles, and my life purpose is to keep you young, healthy, and wealthy, and sexy. Because there's nothing more sexy than a coherent Taurus field.
shoots you out, and then you come into this place. And that's what I mean about remembering. Once you get here, once you get through all of that drama, the humanist stuff, and then you start to awaken who you are, the universe responds in kind.
That was like 15 years ago.
How's 15 years ago?
15 years ago. Long time.
When we go and do activations together, especially in the very beginning of, Team Light, and I think before it was even called Team Light, it was more like just Unite the Collective. We were just a bunch of star seeds angelics doing our best to,
We learned on the job.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah, we learned on the job. Like, you were literally getting directives from your extra dimensional team.
Yeah.
And that was, the thing is, we actually knew deep down, because this isn't the first lifetime that we've done that.
Of course.
But in this lifetime, we had to learn on the job, almost rapid fire. And we learned unlocking all of Sedona first.
Right.
And so on that job, we kind of learned, okay, we need to go into this location and blast a tremendous amount of energy into that location, change the heaviness of a location or a vortex, clear out any types of clogs, almost like a meridian system of a body.
Right.
We were doing that on the Earth ley lines and the vortexes.
Yes.
Background about Val Thaw, who's from Venus, in charge of the largest galactic federation. And I will also give information that you don't find in books, because I was very fortunate to be part of an inner circle whereby the person in charge of this inner circle, Dr. Frank Stranges, actually befriended Val Thaw and was allowed to share insider information with a small group.
The plasma body activation, because with all, like, if we are saying that we are upgrading our DNA until its luminescence nature, then we're talking about plasma. And plasma, it's not only within our biological constitution, like literally in our blood and so forth, it's also suspended. It's what interconnects us all through the space memory network, through the lattice. And also with all the plasma that is coming from the sun, not only our central sun, yet also Alcyon sun. If we don't navigate and surf with this plasma, then it's information that is being, we know how the universe functions. If you don't give a specific purpose to serve, for something to serve, then it will derive to something else. So if we don't own our own potential as multidimensional beings, and I will go in a little bit to that point, then all this potential of plasma then is used by other forces that know how to use plasma. And for instance, this feeling that you were saying about people feeling like they are going super fast, and from other realms we say like, this is very slow, and generating more awareness, of what is our multidimensional body doing, our many fractals doing, and the different dimensions or forms of perception.
We were like galactic plumbers.
Yes.
And it was really weird when we were training in the very beginning. I remember that some of the greatest training I ever did, we did at night up in the mountains. It was just like personal time with us and the guardians there. And really it was, looking back on it, I can see how much we were tested. Now I'm like, yeah, everything's cool. But like, it's like this, like imagine like you going into like a dojo and like meeting your Sifu or your master, and the master like not knowing as like a new student if you're going to make it. You know what I mean? Now it's been 15 years?
Yeah. It was mind, body, spirit, all of it. Like, we had to dial everything in. We had to get into locations that very few people could go to.
Yeah.
I've actually had to explain that to some people that say, oh, well, I'd like to do a mission with you. And it's like, no, it's not for everyone. And even some of the entities that we deal with on those missions, that's not for everyone.
Like, I like to think about it, there's like a switch that flips, And there's certain rules. So the certain rule, for example, that everyone must know if they're going to do this type of work is that once an activation starts, you cannot stop until it's completed. Not if it doesn't matter if you're getting attacked by demons, doesn't matter if there is when we were in Serpent Mounds, Ohio, 3 of those people got taken over by demons. Remember the cars went off the road?
The whole entire forest, every tree we looked around, there was a demon peeking around the back of a tree.
Yeah.
And so and 1 second of not being 100% on point, you get taken over.
Experiences have been my own. I think, when I even got into this work, I was so programmed in a way. I worked in a big medical center. I was prior military. And so I was just kind of like going through the motions. I didn't even realize what I was feeling. And I just knew I just had to push through and go. And so that to me is a really common story that when I work with a lot of my clients who are very much either prior Navy SEALs, special force operators. So they're very structured into just pushing through. And I was thinking about that this morning, actually. This came through where I think about post-traumatic stress and whatever the labels are, which I'm not a big label person, but the pressure that they're under in combat, I really relate that to what we're going through as light workers, light warriors. We've been through a freak show, however long we've been on this planet, and even prior to with our ancestors, the wiring of how we've developed, we've mutated to become more resilient and stronger and really, carrying that shield and carrying that sword and just being really, really strong. It works until it doesn't. And I think for us, as we're stepping into the theme of the conference, Rise of the Guardians, some tips that I would say for Guardians who already have been around, they've got their awards, they've got their ribbons, they've got their medals. How do you keep yourself composed? How do you take care of yourself? And I think that's the important part. Is the pushing through is great, but how do you take care of yourself? Do you take time to sit in your heart, to be still? Because the heart, again, isn't just love, and it isn't just like peace and grace and joy. It is that fire. It's the passion, it's the ignition, and that's what really strengthens us. It gives us energy, it fortifies us, and at the same time, it's about balance.
To win this battle. Let's go. Come on, son.
All I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my house. Words are very unnecessary, they can only do harm. All I wanted, all I ever needed is here.